Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you had a marvelous holiday with your friends and loved ones. Yesterday, on the way home from Thanksgiving for the holiday, my car died. I almost didn't make it back, so I was unable to make a video. I do apologize. Hope that nobody was too worried. But in my absence, the news just did not stop. Our good friend Methods got posted by our favorite Anon yet again. Our favorite Anon posted a new board and secured a new trip code, and it was confirmed by the president. You can't make this stuff up. Very, very exciting. Also, it looks like Attorney General Bill Barr was out there talking about the IG report. We've got new information related to that. Today, word has come out that Kamala Harris is dropping out of the presidential race. President Trump is talking about Adam Schiff. He called him a maniac. You gotta love it. And finally, a very special treat from my good friend Wes at Remorseful CEO on Twitter. I am going to be in a comic book, and as an avid comic book reader, I could not be more excited, you guys. So stick around for the end. You're going to want to see this. It is so cool. We've got all of this news and more, and we will be right back after a quick word from our sponsor. Imagine if you had received a personal invitation to invest $50 in Uber when it was a startup. On IPO day, you could have made $248,250. Look at these surprising returns from these popular startup companies. Some earning 583,264% revenue surges. Fortunately, Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec and his team of ultra-successful angel investors are here to help deliver angel deals with life-changing upsides delivered to you on a silver platter. Watch the free video at www.getangelrich.com or click the link in the description to see how you can participate in these potentially lucrative deals before the mainstream even finds out about them. Once again, that's www.getangelrich.com. Well, guys, thanks for sticking around. I wanted to go over the posts first because these were all from yesterday. So the new board is called Project Decoms, and that board is locked, so that means that only our favorite Anon can post on there. And the heralding of this board meant that soon we would have confirmation, we would have a trip code, because basically, in order to create this board, Q would have had to prove that they were the same person that was posting on 8chan previously. So what was posted? Well, it was the 18 U.S. Code, Chapter 115. It's on treason, sedition, and subversive activities. And it talks about anybody who's willing to advocate overthrow of the government, knowingly or willfully advocates, abets, advises, or teaches the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying the government of the United States or the government of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof, or the government of any political subdivision therein by force or violence, or by the assassination of any officer of any such government. Essentially, anyone in the resistance, possibly, and people who are in the government that have been advocating for the overthrow of our duly elected president. So very cool, very nice way to start the day. Now, shortly after that, we had this tweet from Donald Trump. First of all, it is posted with this trip ident Delta 1. Let's go ahead and take a look. And Trump says, the Republican Party has never been so united. This impeachment scam is just a continuation of the 3-year witch hunt, but it is only bringing us even closer together. So, why did Q post that tweet right there? Well, let's take a look at a tweet from 3 days and 3 nights because he breaks it down pretty good. And that tweet from Trump was within 1 minute of Q posting that brand new board. And it says here, Q 100% confirmed by Trump. Every single letter, including capitalization and punctuation from Q's new trip code, which you can see right here, except for the Q, can be found in Trump's confirmation tweet from exactly 1 minute later. Here it is. And as you can see, highlight the capital letters and the numbers and the punctuation minus the Q because we know the Q is there, and it lines up perfectly with Q's new trip code. I don't know what else you need to believe that President Trump and the Q team are working together. Please, guys, this is one of the best proofs I have ever seen. Share it far and wide because this does a good job. And here is some more posts from Methods showing that 1 minute delta. We had the post right here at 9:55, and then we have the tweet from the president at 9:56. Then at 9:58, Q posts it. and it is a 1-minute delta. There is that new trip code, and then here is the president's tweet detailing every single letter and the punctuation in that trip code. Then we have another post right here, trip confirmed, showing us that the trip has been confirmed. And what does Q post? Q posts the president's watch and the president's pen, which we have come to see many times on several different boards now. Now you can see from the watch hands that it is at 1:29. And we've got 20 seconds to go on this countdown right here. I was talking with some people about it, and 1:29, that would be 12/9. That's the date that the IG report was given by Lindsey Graham. And then 20, and Method seems to think the infamous 20 pages is what that is. Then we've got a 2 right there. That would be December 2nd. Yeah, I think that's about all I see. Next, in this post, it just says justice. And then we've got the post, which includes the 60 minutes clip that our friend Methods clipped out the other night. And we are asked, why are the largest media companies in the world constantly attacking this so-called conspiracy? And then we have a Bing search result, which results in news articles and things that have been written about Q. And he says, people awake equals greatest fear, information warfare. Then we've got this post right here showing the line of succession between Alphabet, 23andMe, and the platform you are watching right now. And here are those people. We've got Sergey Brin. He was the co-founder of Google, current president of Alphabet Incorporated, with a net worth of nearly $50 billion. He was married from 2007 to 2015 to Anne Wojcicki. She is the co-founder of 23andMe and has a net worth of $1 billion. That's the DNA database. Her sister, Susan, is the CEO of YouTube. Slightly lower net worth, but she's not doing too shabby, $410 million. I would love to show you this clip here showing the 60 minutes clip that Methods was able to grab. It does detail YouTube's campaign to rid its platform of videos like the one that you're watching right now. And I will get a strike if I go ahead and show it to you guys. So please go ahead and go to Methods' channel and check that out if you haven't seen it already. And in the next post, it says, "Be ready, Anons, public awakening coming." Now, what does that look like right there? That kind of looks to me like an image from London, and I believe that it has been identified as such. And who showed up on Twitter very recently but Lisa Page, Mrs. London Bridge herself. And the title of the photo is Lisa MI6. Think that means that maybe Lisa was working with MI6 when she was over there on her famous trip with Peter and Andy? And then next, we've got another one. Anons, why would we provide the date of the Pfizer release? Logical thinking. Ammunition is finite. I think that this is telling us that the date that we were given, December 9th, might not be the actual date. Could it be before that? Could it be a little bit after that? But either way, the point is to have the Democrats and the deep state use up their ammunition prior to that date, because then they're not going to have anything that they can put out there that's going to be able to keep the truth away from the public. Now, Devin Nunes had a very interesting comment over the weekend when he was on Judge Jeanine's program. He said that the leaks that were coming out were from basically the bad guys, that he didn't think that they were given the actual report. They were given a fake report so that they could leak this stuff, and then they would know exactly where the leaks were coming from. Now, there was a report that came out over the weekend that AG Bill Barr is refuting IG Horowitz's conclusions that the FBI had a rationale to spy on the Trump campaign. Now, this did not come from Bill Barr himself. This came from the Washington Post. So take it with a grain of salt. I personally don't believe it because he put out another statement today, and we'll look at this in just a second. But right here it begins. The Washington Post published another alleged leak on Monday, 1 week prior to the release of the IG report on the Obama administration spying on the Trump campaign in 2016. Deep state operatives, Democrats, and their far-left media are working feverishly to diffuse the effect of the momentous report before its release. According to WAPO, Barr does not agree with the IG that the Obama deep state had justification to spy on the Trump campaign and the Trump transition team in 2016. Barr may include a formal letter in the report or may publicly state his concern. Now, it certainly should be a grave concern to every American that the DOJ and the FBI can spy on their political opponents during a campaign, and if that is the future for America, we are no better than a banana republic. There will be millions of Americans who will not agree with an IG report that allows the coup perpetrators to walk free. Now, as I stated, This is not coming from Attorney General Barr, so I don't believe that this is a report that we can take seriously. Let's go ahead and look at a statement from Bill Barr that was just released today, and you tell me what you think. All right, from Draw and Strike, Brian Cates, he says Barr just released a statement through the official DOJ spokesperson in which he expresses full confidence in Horowitz's work and counsels people to wait for the report's release and Horowitz's testimony to Congress before coming to their own conclusions. Now, this is something I've said for a long time. Stop freaking out, everybody, because this is actually happening. I cannot believe that we've gotten this far to have it all crumble in the last 5 minutes of the game. Now, I do believe that Attorney General Barr has full confidence in Horowitz and his ability to put forward a fair and balanced report and actually bring the people to the table that are going to need to be brought to justice. So, let's move on now to another article reporting on the information in the Pfizer report. So this is a nice little refresher on why all of us should feel so comfy. The Pfizer report, which is due out on Monday, will be damning, and we already listed several Pfizer-related crimes in previous reports. Now, this is due out on Monday, December 9th, and it's likely that the DOJ IG Horowitz will address a number of issues, some of which we already know. We reported in January of 2018 that a Pfizer court ruling report listed many criminal activities that took place during the former failed presidential administration of Barry Obama, and that all related to the Pfizer process. On April 26, 2017, an unsealed Pfizer court ruling unveiled a number of criminal activities that Barry Obama's FBI and DOJ participated in during his time in office. The report to date received little attention. Well, now interest is brewing due to the recent actions of Congress and the report that is expected to be released in the coming weeks. The Pfizer court ruling shows widespread abuse of the Pfizer mandate. According to the report, Obama's FBI and DOJ performed searches on Americans that were against their Fourth Amendment rights. This went on for years. One paragraph in the report states that 85% of the Section 704 and 705B FISA searches made during this time were non-compliant with applicable laws and therefore were criminal. FISA 705 warrants deal with U.S. citizens outside the country. In addition, the report cites that at the same time that Obama's FBI and DOJ were illegally searching Americans against their rights and unbeknownst to them, Obama's FBI was providing this information to outside contractors who had no business or legal cause or claim on the information. We then followed this up in April 2018 with a post referencing the same report that showed that the court stated James Clapper's NSA had an institutional lack of candor. That means lying. It's been leaked over the past few weeks that at least one attorney at the FBI made fraudulent edits to a FISA application. His name was Kevin Kleinsmith. Kleinsmith was already noted in a prior DOJ IG report. On page 455 of the DOJ's IG report on Hillary Clinton's emails, there is a discussion of what attorney number 2, that'd be Kleinsmith, from the FBI texted on October 28th, 2016. And I'm sure you guys will remember this because we went over it in detail. He said, I never really liked the Republic anyway. And then he said it again. And then he said, as I have initiated the destruction of the Republic, would you be so kind as to have a coffee with me this afternoon, madame? And then he said, I'm clinging to small pockets of happiness in the dark time of the Republic's destruction, not someone who is a lover of America and what she stands for. It's been reported that the IG's report on FISA abuse due out on Monday is between 500 and 1,000 pages long. This indicates that there are a number of observations and findings that are covered in the report. We already know of crimes committed in the FISA review process. It looks like we'll have more to report come Monday. Now, guys, once that final FISA report is issued, I think we're going to do a special live stream here on the channel, and we're going to go read through some of the more interesting pieces. May need a day or so to comb through it and find the best stuff, but I've got myself and a team of Anons working on it. So stick around. We've got lots to talk about. Now, before we move on to the next story, which has to do with the private banker of JE, this is a good one. Our favorite Anon did put out another post. Now, here Methods has put it out on Twitter. Let's take a look. And it is an article from Reuters talking about the Paris Climate Accord and Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, remember, was supposed to be at some type of a climate summit this week. And it says here, who audits where the money goes? What percentage is typically categorized as costs? And then here is another article talking about how much the Paris Agreement will cost. And we ask the question, how to steal taxpayer money. Here is the con. Determine topic or topics that will have an emotional pull. Connect on vocal types. Create a media blitz, scare campaign, talking points, alarmist. Use pro-narrative-minded authorities on subject to provide foundation to support. Deploy circular reporting and groupthink tactics, echo chamber, to artificially raise public outcry. And then use that public outcry to justify $1 billion taxpayer spend. Rinse and repeat. This is something we've seen on many occasions. The global warming alarmists, AOC saying that we've got only 12 years before everything falls apart. Who audits where the money goes? Well, the answer is no one. What percentage goes to the original mandate? Well, how do we know? No one's auditing it. What's the salary of a U.S. senator? What's the salary of a U.S. congressman or woman? What's the salary of a U.S. president? What's the salary of a U.S. vice president? What was their net worth pre-office and what was their net worth post-office? How do elected officials become mega multi-millionaires? Corruption is the answer. Logical thinking. So when we see people like Nancy Pelosi, like Barry Obama, like Joe Biden, when we see them come into office, essentially paupers, and then leave multimillionaires, where do you think all that money comes from? They are quite literally dipping their hand into the piggy bank of the American taxpayer's pocket. Now, along with that post was included a picture from Paris. Looks like someone on the Anon team, or perhaps someone just there that they were able to grab the picture from, taking a photo of the Eiffel Tower. Definitely. I want to know who this guy looking right at the camera is. All right, so bad news for J.E.'s private banker at Deutsche City. He was found self-deleted by a rope, and he was scheduled to be questioned by the FBI. So he went the way of the dodo prior to the FBI being able to ask him questions about what he was doing. Now, this was J.E.'s private wealth banker. He brokered and signed off on untold multiple millions of dollars in controversial Deutsche Bank and Citibank loans spanning 2 decades for the convicted PED. And he has died from a reported suicide. The news of yet another mysterious J.E.-linked death comes shortly after the FBI was seeking to interview the bank executive about loans he approved for Jeffrey and the indicted child traffickers' labyrinth of U.S.-based and offshore companies. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner confirmed Thomas Bowers did die of an apparent suicide by hanging at his home before Thanksgiving. Jeffrey likewise died from a reported suicide by hanging, according to the New York City Medical Examiner. And Bowers headed the private wealth banking division for Deutsche Bank and signed off on millions of loans to Jeffrey. Bowers, prior to taking over the private banking arm at Deutsche Bank, served in the same top position at Citibank as the head of the bank's private wealth arm. Citigroup also made massive loans to Jeffrey, according to records and banking sources who spoke to True Pundit. True Pundit founder Mike Thomas Paine Moore previously headed anti-money laundering for a major Citigroup division during the time frame that Citi commenced large loans to Jeffrey. The loans to Jeffrey were personal and commercial, Paine confirmed. The Citi loans, I can confirm, were for more than $25 million. Some were secured, some were not. Now, did Citi bend its lending rules for Jeffrey? Well, Paine said that appears quite likely, with Bowers and other Citi executives he later recruited to work for him at Deutsche, all working to secure the approvals regardless of compliance-related red flags. And sources said Citi loaned Jeffrey much more money, eclipsing $100 million, and also allowed Jeffrey to use the bank to send thousands of wire transfers from his accounts. Bowers, who turned up dead just days ago, brokered the loans for Jeffrey. Bowers was the chief of Deutsche Bank's private wealth management division and worked from the bank's Park Avenue offices in New York City. At Citi, Bowers served as the chief of the Citi Private Bank and previously ran Citigroup's global markets and wealth management businesses. And when Bowers left Citi for Deutsche, Jeffrey, of course, followed. Meanwhile, Jeffrey stopped making payments on his millions in outstanding Citi loans, but that mattered little because Bowers approved new high-risk loans and credit lines from Deutsche Bank, sources said. And that relationship with Jeffrey continued until Bowers left Deutsche Bank in 2015. By that time, Jeffrey had chalked up untold millions in loans with the help of Bowers, who recruited many of his top private wealth top bankers from Citi to Deutsche Bank. The FBI was interested in interviewing Bowers, and the FBI subpoenaed Deutsche Bank in May for all loans and accounts linked to Jeffrey, and there were many unanswered questions. Deutsche Bank closed out Jeffrey's accounts weeks after the bank was served federal subpoenas. Federal law enforcement officials said the FBI planned to interview all Wall Street wealth fund managers who worked for Jeffrey, and that included Bowers. Now, how much money did Deutsche broker for Jeffrey? That number to this point has proven elusive. The FBI isn't talking, but one executive divulged Jeffrey had secured more than $60 million from Deutsche Bank's U.S. and German arms. And likely that number is much larger, but at this point, the bank is keeping its exposure quiet. Apparently, he also set him up with over a dozen bank accounts that he used to send and receive wire transfers. Now, one banking executive said that Bowers had visited Jeffrey's private island at least once. Bowers had also visited Jeffrey in New York and attended social events at his mansion, and federal law enforcement sources did not comment about these new revelations. However, city executives who worked with Bowers said the bank executive maintained an active nightlife and enjoyed the party circuit. Now, of course, Jeffrey brought in a lot of new money for Bowers over there at Deutsche and Citi, and he made his financial institutions hundreds of millions of dollars through his own transactions and the transactions of people he was acquainted with. It didn't even matter that Jeffrey stiffed Citi for $30 million in defaults because he brought so much new money and new blood in. Citi made far more than it lost. So what do you guys think? It seems a little too coincidental that this guy would just happen to decide to leave on his own accord at the same time that he was looking to be questioned by the FBI. I think that the business he did for Jeffrey probably is going to tie back to even bigger fish, and I wonder where all of those wire transfers were coming and going. I bet they were for transactions that involved the poor victims of Jeffrey's crimes. All right, now breaking news. According to numerous reports, Kamala Harris is dropping out of the Democrat presidential race. Democrat presidential candidate Senator Kamala Harris has abruptly canceled a high-dollar luncheon fundraiser in New York City Tuesday, just hours before the event was set to take place. The move came a day after a poll showed a new entrant to the race, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, jumping ahead of the fading Harris 6% to her 2%. Harris's lead operations manager resigned last week with a blistering letter criticizing her campaign. This was good. Harris's campaign never recovered from the hit by Representative Tulsi Gabbard at a July debate. So what happened was Senator Kamala Harris's campaign operations manager, when they resigned last week, put out a really horrible letter saying that they had essentially never worked for a worse campaign or organization, and that everyone on the campaign was just treated with tons of disrespect. So between Tulsi Gabbard and this incident with her operations manager resigning and trashing her campaign, looks like Kamala saw the writing on the wall. Bye-bye. All right, never a dull moment when President Trump makes a commentary on his detractors. I think he's a maniac. He grew up with a complex for lots of reasons that are obvious. Trump shreds deranged and sick person Adam Schiff. President Trump held a press conference today at the NATO summit with Canadian leader Justin Trudeau. During the presser, the U.S. president was asked about Democrat Representative Adam Schiff, and President Trump went off. We're going to go ahead and listen to the clip because this is so good.
I'm not going to watch, but I'm going to be doing this. It's much more exciting. But you know what? Tomorrow, think of it. They get 3 constitutional lawyers and we get 1. That's not even smart because it's not going to matter. And they take 3 and they give us 1. Who ever heard of anything like that? No, but I want them to testify, but I want them to testify in the Senate where they'll get a fair trial.
What do we want to learn from Adam Schiff testimony?
From which?
From Adam Schiff.
I learned nothing from Adam Schiff. I think he's a maniac.
What would you want to learn if he testified?
I think Adam Schiff is a deranged human being. I think he grew up with a complex for lots of reasons that are obvious. I think he's a very sick man, and he lies. Adam Schiff made up my conversation with the president of Ukraine. And one of the reasons people keep talking about it is that's what they saw. We have a perfectly beautiful 3 or 4 page transcription, and then in the other case, a 2-page transcription of the conversation. But a lot of people didn't read that. How many people called you? A friend of mine called up, a top person in New York called up, great friend of mine, very successful. Gee, I didn't like what was said. I said, oh, where did you see it? Did you read it? No, I didn't read it. I heard Adam Schiff give it. I said, well, that's not what was said. And I sent him a copy of what was said. He said, this is great. This isn't what he said. This guy is sick. He made up the conversation. He lied. If he didn't do that in the halls of Congress, he'd be thrown in a jail. But he did it in the halls of Congress, and he's given immunity. This is a sick person. He's a liar. And by the way, Nancy Pelosi knew he was lying, and she went on a show, Stephanopoulos, And she said he told the truth. So she was lying too. These people are deranged. Okay, anybody else?
Mr. Prime Minister.
These people are deranged, and Adam Schiff grew up with a complex for a lot of reasons that are obvious. You got that pencil neck, you got those bug eyes. Like I said, never a dull moment with President Trump. A very adequate assessment of Adam Schiff, his mental capacity, and his reasons for lying. And finally, guys, from my good friend Wes, the creator of the Goodland comic book, he has included myself and also Google whistleblower Zach Voorhees as characters in the comic. And I just wanted to show you guys the artwork because this is so cool. If you follow me on Twitter, then you might have noticed that I made this my background on my Twitter page. But major props to Wes. He did a great job. I can't believe how cool I look as a comic book character. I'm just geeking out over the whole thing. So if you guys want to, you can get updates on Goodland. I've included the link in the description of this video. Check it out. Please do consider supporting Wes and Goodland if you are a fan of comics, awesome art, and more importantly, independent artists. All right, congratulations to Methods. So long, Kamala. The IG report is just over the horizon. And thank you so much to Wes for including me in the Goodland comic book. I'm super excited to see it when it's all done. As always, guys, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. I just wanted to say one more thing. Thank you very much to all my patrons. Thank you to everyone who supports this channel. If anyone wants to help out, there are links in the description of this video below. Please make sure to subscribe to my backup channels in case anything happens here. I will begin publishing there. And if you guys have any questions or tips for me, please send me an email at redpill78@protonmail.com. Also, don't forget to make sure that you have notifications turned on for this channel. When you go to my channel page, there is a little bell. Click that bell and choose all notifications. And if you don't have one already, go sign up on Twitter and follow me there and make sure that your notifications are on. Because even if you don't get a notification from YouTube, I always have a notification that goes out on my Twitter page that lets you know every time I put out a new video. I look forward to reading your messages. I look forward to getting the news to you on a daily basis. And I look forward to seeing you all again in the next episode.